Okay.
100%.
Okay, folks. So welcome to today's session. A little bit different. I do apologize that it is a little bit different. There are still some people coming into the room. We've had a waiting room feature. We have had a little bit of a technical hiccup and we've had to move to a meeting platform at the last minute. I will record this process, and that reminds me just to push the record. That is going. So we are recording the process. Yeah, my name is Paul Rencken. I'm from FEDSAS, and welcome to this 37th webinar of the year that we've been handling. And today we're talking to Riaan van Bergh, or with Riaan van Bergh. And I think it's great, almost an opportunity that we're onto a meeting platform. We can have a bit more interaction. For those of you that have normally attended our webinars, you've normally been in an auditorium setup and you've been sitting quietly in the background and typing in questions. Today, because of technical challenges, we're all sitting around a very large table, and you can interact in a much easier manner than in the past, if we can put it that way. So please feel free to type in questions. We might not get to all of them, but we will try and get them. You're welcome to put your cameras off if you would like to. If you'd like to be seen, you're welcome to leave your cameras on. If you want to ask a question, I think we'll take the opportunity of being a little bit more interactive as well with the process, because we are there. You will see there's a place where you can put your video camera off. And then I will also make sure that all the participants, once Riaan starts talking, I'll make sure that all the participants are hidden from view. You will also find that there's a presenters mode and a grid view. If you go into the presenters mode, then you'll get less cameras, less other people in the meeting, and you'll be able to then get an idea of what, or speak more directly to what Riaan's talking about from there. I am a bit hesitant as to what's next button I should push as to what's going to happen. Questions and answers, we would normally say Q&A is the place to go, but we're in a very abnormal situation. So please type in the chat box. We will try and filter the questions and try and sort them out. Please let us know where you're from, which province you're from when you type something in, because that does help us to redirect the questions. It looks like some more panelist people are coming through. So because we moved the venue, they're now coming through, and we'll keep filtering them through. Riaan, while you talk, if you wouldn't mind just mentioning and welcoming a few more as they come in from there. We will be recording the session, so that will still be going through, and we will be able to share the contents with you as we go through from there. Our provincial managers, where they are throughout the province, and their contact details in particular, please get hold of them. And there, obviously, right at the bottom is also Riaan's details, our manager for the Centre of Technology, Centre for Technology, and he'll be able to help you with the details there if you need anything further to the process. And I think with that, I'm going to hand over to Riaan and just sort out who else might still be coming through. And yeah, Riaan, let me hand over directly to you, and you can handle it from that side.
Let me just share my screen and confirm that we've got screen sharing going. Paul, are we good?
Yeah, very good to go.
Happiness. Okay, colleagues, yeah, for those of you that just came in, we started a little bit late because we had a technical issue and we're on a meeting platform, so welcome to you guys as well. The session is somewhat talking about technology in this COVID time, and it actually has 3 or 4 topics today. It's a question of what is the new normal in education and education technology. Also, what has been normal and what's been available. So we're going to look at some of the members in the Centre for Technology and the solutions they have that is not just relevant in day-to-day life before the 26th of March, but even more so relevant that adapted quickly and in an agile fashion to the needs that we have in this COVID-19 time. We're suddenly facing a lot of new challenges, and technology could adapt quicker to some of that. So ons gaan bietjie daarna loer. Ek wil vir almal welkom sê. Ons gaan die sessie oorwegend in Engels doen. Maar net vir ons Afrikaanse kollegas ook sê baie welkom en dankie dat julle hierdie paar minute van stormagtige water saam met ons getrotseer het. Maar ja, kom ons kyk so 'n bietjie na wat gaan aan in 'n nuwe wêreld. So ek gaan 'n bietjie wegspring met 'n paar idees. And I'm going to ask you guys to look at those and be truly honest with yourself. Which one would you prefer today? Which one would you like? Was the old one broken when the new one started working? I love the retro look of the typewriter, but even the keyboard, the QWERTY keyboard came into existence because those little hammers needed to go to the roller without congesting. So the way that the computer's keyboard is designed is because of the mechanics of the traditional or old-time typewriter. some of you, and you can possibly give me a thumbs up or a comment in that, we all loved the Volkswagen Beetle. It was my first car. My dad spoiled me. My brother and I, we shared a Volkswagen Beetle, a 1969 model, when we started driving. And then suddenly VW came out with the new Beetle, and I ran into a very similar picture than this. This is not the one that I took, but I visited the city of Boston, and we walked on the Harvard campus, and lo and behold, two cars parked next to each other, the old Beetle and the new Beetle. Which one would you rather drive today? The Saturday drive one with your little cap and sunglasses, or the one that really suits the road today? And I'm sure that the new Beetle is not in production anymore. Let's look at the past. Be inspired by your past, but don't live in it. The old racing car of BMW on the left-hand side, and the brand new, unbelievable machine. And yes, we love the old one, but which one is going to be functional today? I'm sure if we get on the highway and want to do 120 km per hour with the vehicle on the left-hand side, it might not be such a smooth, safe, and easy ride, especially if you're going to get some rain and cold. So with all things, the camera, the old camera on the wooden tripod, and the new camera with digital capabilities, somewhere something new replaces something old. The old radio, we're used to that. The cell phones, how they migrated. We all understand snail mail or physical letter, paper mail, and now suddenly we all receive mail in a flash with the at button on our computers. The TV has probably gone through the biggest transformation. The bigger the TV goes in your house now, the less space you need because the flatter it is. So there's a paradox in a big TV using less space. And yes, so there's a new way that is still very normal, but it doesn't break the old normal, but it enhances it. So I just want to frame that. That's what we're going to be talking about. Was the old camera, which we're replacing, abnormal when it started? Yes, it might have been, but it became the norm very quickly. So the new normal is also to be adapted to. Paul, I'm going to ask you, we spoke about it before the session, what an SGB chair went through over the last 60 days. And not giving away the rest of our presentation, but just quickly give me a 2-minute rundown or input. Did you want to share your screen? Shall I stop my screen?
No.
And then
where you are here from there.
Okay.
No, not a problem at all. Yeah, Riaan and myself were just chatting about where we've gone, and if I change my cap and maybe put my Howick High School chairman of the governing body cap on, yeah, it's been quite interesting to look back and see what we've done in the last 68 days. And please, someone correct me if I am wrong in that. But in between being provincial manager for KZN and obviously being quite involved in this sort of process, there's been a bit of time to say, well, we need to help a school and be guided. I've been very fortunate, I have to say, in that we had 1 or 2 Zoom lessons with the educators to teach them what to do. And then we kind of had to get out the way because we would have been run over by the rush and the urgency of the educators to actually make this whole thing happen. And I only realized that we've been very fortunate in that when I spoke to some other schools, they said some educators have really battled to get onto the online learning and the remote learning process. So we kind of, when I say we, myself and a colleague, Shane Webb, who's been involved in webinar training for the last 8 years, kind of guided the educators on 3 online sessions. We had an A and a B and a C start. So we're the ones that were proficient, the ones that were less proficient, and the ones that were most improficient. We gave them some lessons, and then after that, they just started. And Shane and myself had to kind of get out the way because otherwise we would have been run over by them heading off in the direction. The other little anecdotal thing is we had an educator who was, I think, heading towards 62 or 63, who wasn't active on WhatsApp at all before this started. Now that's quite a statement to make, and I hope she doesn't mind me using this on a public platform. Within 2 weeks, she was Zooming classroom lessons to everybody, and I really want to sit down with her and say, well, how do you feel now after 60 odd days, and how have you gone through the process? But really what it's made me do, it's made me consider that we need to be careful that we don't go back to the old normal. There's a wonderful opportunity here for us to say, let's use what we've learned in this very impactful last 68 days or 70 days, let's round it up to 70 days. What have we learned during this time? And let's go back and use some of that in where we're going forward. let's not go back to the old normal. As we've always been saying, this is the new normal. We're now in abnormal circumstances. So I'm really looking forward to encouraging our school as a chairman to say, let's take those lessons and let's go forward with them. Let's learn, let's take what we've learned and let's try and build onto it from that side. I mean, I'm very fortunate. I've got a daughter at the moment who's busy teaching online, and she's teaching 40, 50 people online. I know there are going to be the traditionalists that say, hang on a sec, it doesn't work. And yes, it doesn't work for everybody. If I'm very personal, because I've shared a lot of personal details already, my son hasn't really activated much on this online process, and he's in matric. He kind of needs to buckle down. And he's done some of the stuff, but it hasn't really rung a bell with him. And he's done it because he's had to do it from that side. So it's not going to ring a bell with everybody. But what I'm really saying is, let's take what we've learned. Let's hear what we've seen. We've had a huge growth, obviously, in online training and online opportunities. Let's see if we can still use some of those in our environments. Let's see if maybe, for example, our governing body meetings, we've got governors, once again, at High that are fairly widespread. Maybe we have every second governing body meeting is online. Let's not make people travel through late at night back to wherever they are on the bad roads, wherever they might be. Let's say every second meeting will be an online meeting, or we'll have so many meetings online and so many meetings face to face. So let's use that technology. And then likewise in the classroom, let's not just go back to the old normal. We've gone through an abnormal situation. Let's look for the new normal, but let's not discard that. And that's really what I was chatting to Riaan about. And so I'm really encouraged that there's some exciting times ahead. Yes, not everybody is still, once again, on that digital highway in the same place, but we've all moved along rapidly. So let's not go in reverse. Let's not go back to use Riaan's analogy to finish off. Let's not go back to that 1969 Beetle when we've actually got a 2009 or a 2010 Beetle. I think that's when the last one was made. So let's rather use the most recent Beetle, because we've learned how to drive that vehicle. Let's not go back to the old one. So yeah, Riaan, just from a chairman's side, I think it's a huge opportunity. It's been challenging, still some more challenges ahead on operations, but let's not forget what we've learned in the last 70 days.
Thanks, Paul. Happy with that. Yeah. I think what's critical, what Paul is saying, is that we are in a new world and we've got to find our feet, but we have some tools. In this morning session with our staff, someone said, but a lot of people are saying, don't fix it if it is not broken. But I specifically put some of those pictures in there. The old stuff was still working. The new stuff was just more efficient. So we've got to get our mindset around it, that new elements bring with it more efficiency, higher speed. So yeah, I'm going to give you some of my philosophy here, and then we're going to delve into some of the concepts quickly. This is not research. This is not someone's master study. It's my own thinking. So I hope I'm not breaking fundamentals of thinking of it. But I think there's three types of technology that you adapt and employ. The first one is a new development, still in the old approach. The new one, the second one is a new development with a new approach, called that development or growth. So the first one is enhancement. We're still doing it the same way. We're just doing it quicker, smarter, something like. And then there's the third level of disruption, which is totally defining a new way of doing things. If we've got some teachers on board, we will all know the SAMR model, SAMR model of introducing technology in the classroom. But it also works for your own house, your own life, the office. So we've got substitution and augmentation. I've bundled those together as a new development with an old approach. So substitution is just, we use paper, now we use glass. So we read on a Kindle instead of a book. That's just substituting. It's not a different book. It's the same book. It's just an ebook. Augmentation is we might put pictures and motion in it. So it just gets better, but it's a new development in a still old approach. Modification is slightly different. New development, new approach. Why don't we write a book together and we all collaborate? Why don't we make a movie of the book, of the story, and do a YouTube channel or something like that? And then completely redefining things is the new world. And I think that's where we found ourselves for about 10 weeks, although we were still 1 foot in the old way, old normal, because it was recent. So we've got to think of, where do we fit the technological advancement in? Are we enhancing Are we developing or growing, or are we totally disrupting? And one of the easiest ways to show that is the radio and TV. New development with an old approach is radio and TV. We got TVs that are flat screens, high definition. We got radios in our cars. The battery gave us the option to not be at a power source all the time, but it's a new development and old approach. New development with a new approach is something like DSTV, which caters to the on-demand society. We can playlist, we can PVR, we can box office, we can Showmax, but on our TV, still in our house. The new world, which we're seeing fast developing, is that of the Netflix, the podcast world, the on-demand society that's on the go and mobile and personalized. So I watch, what I want, when I want, on which device I want, in which location I want. Nothing is fixed anymore. So that's kind of the three differences that we're looking at, and maybe defining a little bit of the new normal. And I want to continue saying new normal because the emphasis is on normal. It's not on new, and it's not abnormal because it's new normal. It's just new. And we looked at the new cars, new cameras, new TVs in there, just to set the scene of that. Maybe just to give you a slight context, and I'm going to brush over this quickly because this is what happened in the FEDSAS life. Our staff experienced this. This is probably 10, 15 years ago, before general access to a lot of technology. And we said, but is technology solving real problems? FEDSAS operated with landline, faxes, papers. Most businesses did. I'm just using FEDSAS as an example to show that any business, any operation goes through this. And then we'll get contextualizing it into a schooling environment. Checks. I see last week, APSA mentioned that they're withdrawing all checks from the market. Checks are dead. Long live payment options. The king is dead. Long live the king. The check is dead, but long live the payment option. FEDSAS, if it was a small e, a few email addresses, maybe some desktop computers, EFTs, DVDs that we sent out for training material. And you can see there's a hard line with a little bit of gaps and a big gap between traditional FEDSAS and FEDSAS, if we can call it that. And this is just anecdotal and as a metaphor. Then pre-disruption. This would be from probably the last 5-6 years up until early in this year, where FEDSAS has started embracing technology. But the Center of Technology is a division on the E side. You see the E is a big E now. FEDSAS, we started running webinars probably 2 years ago already, if not longer. We launched more than a year ago our FEDSAS online, no, it was about 7 months ago, our FEDSAS e-learning platform where you can get courses, online learning, computer-based, self-paced training, and you can do a governance course, you can do a POPI course. We held online meetings. We still have our YouTube channel, and there's a lot of resources on there. We even got ebooks that's available on the Snaplify platform. We engaged our website more and more on the real, call it the real FEDSAS side, the traditional FEDSAS side. And suddenly 26 March happened, and I think everything just merged. The new FEDSAS is the big E, and it's new FEDSAS. And this is not necessarily our new constitution, but just the way we started working in 10 weeks, very much online. And we will be in person as well once we can move again. We're waiting for the regulations, virtual and physical, very mobile, very connected, not disconnected. We probably saw more of our members in the last 10 weeks than we did in the last year. And that's why it's nice to see some of the names and faces that were open today. So it's really great seeing you. Voice notes. Our CEO launched a voice note on Sunday afternoon, I think it was, that got so much love, traction, and support because we could quickly and easily distribute the information to our members and say, good luck. We see the work that you've been doing and go for it on Monday morning. Sterkte, dankie aan al die onderwysers. And we got a lot of good feedback on that. But I think 3 months ago, we would have hardly thought of using a voice note, a voice memo to communicate so strongly and so accurately to our members. And then, we're looking at being more efficient, at cost saving. Is it necessary to spend all the money? Now the question beckons, and why we get to today, hopefully you guys understand where I'm coming from by sharing a little bit of the FEDSAS story. But is this a school in the same position? Is this a pause? Or is it possibly a reset? And not reset completely, throwing everything out the door, but can school be the same? given that we've tasted something different and have been forced to do something different. The other side is, can school be different? You know, for many years, most of the technology, education technology, or even pure education conferences that I've attended have spoken about, you know, school is still the same, but the world we live in is so much changing. The 4 C's of the 21st century, we need to teach kids creativity, communication, critical thinking, and collaboration. Those are the C's that we've got to be teaching. You know, the new R's over and above reading, writing, arithmetic. We've got to teach robotics, responsibility, relationship, and those kind of things. So can school be different? Yes, we've got to think of life is different. Next question I want to pose is education above, and in brackets then below, the technology line? In some cases, I think there's a resistance to say, but technology is too far above schools. We can't afford it. We'll not do it. But some cases, I find it that, man, technology is really a hindrance. So we're over and above this. We're doing it so well. We're actually a slave of our own success, but we're preparing kids for a world that does not exist by the time they go to the workplace in 2030. So that throws both sides. Is it a little bit of arrogance? We're above technology. Don't talk to us about technology. We're education. Or is it below because we're resource scarce and poor and we can't achieve that? And there's means of ways of bridging that gap. Last one is then, can schools be more efficient in, and I think Paul spoke about it, the operations, how we do school, not deliver core business and curriculum, how we do operations in our management and governance. Once again, can we still make e-decisions, have e-meetings, and govern and manage as we go? Can we deliver our core business, which is learning and teaching? I think Jaco Deaconus, Deputy CEO, coined the phrase very early in this phase. He said, school is open, but the building is closed. Learning is going on, but the building is off limits. So do you put yourself in a situation where school is a building, or is the core business of school teaching and learning? And then obviously the one that I love a lot is new innovation. What do we stretch ourselves to and find new innovation? So I'm going to spend some time on some of the solutions in the FEDSAS Center for Technology that really stepped up. So we've got a host of solutions, call it companies, as corporate members of the Center for Technology. And we're not pushing their product. We're pushing the solution. We're trying to embrace with their solutions, their commercial solutions, the 21st century to better, to take better pictures with that new camera, to drive faster and safer with that new car, to see a clearer picture on that new television set. So that's really what we're trying to do, and bring the marketplace to the schools to say, when you make decisions, just take into account what all the options are. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know. So some of the people that have come to the party in this lockdown time under COVID was a company called Resolute Robotics. They do online coding, and they've got a video that I'll share the link of at the end, where you can teach learners from grade 6 upwards, by using some components of robotics, how to make a soap dispenser. I think most schools went out and bought soap dispensers by the dozens. And you could have fixed the education environment while educating learners to solve the problem. Sometimes we're so quick to fix the problem with our checkbooks, but we're not doing core business of teaching. And the video is this 37-second video on YouTube, and I'll share it, how to make your own soap dispenser, probably 300-400 Rand, but all the components can be used after you don't need the soap dispenser anymore and you build something new. It's a little Arduino project, and it's brilliant. But they also have online coding along with school coding, which is another member. We had Microsoft and AVS do Microsoft Teams training and Teams onboarding. Fortinet that gives us online security. In this world where sanitation is such a key word, you know, you wash your hands everywhere. You have a mask, but we go online and we don't think about sanitizing our data, what we take in and what we send out. We don't think about sanitizing our eyes with what we look at. So security is a big issue. And I've seen in some cases schools have high-speed internet, but they don't open it up to the learners because of the risk of the scares. But if we put in security, we can get all the benefit without the scare of high-speed internet in school. D6 came to the party, and I really want to urge you guys to go have a look at that webinar we had last Tuesday about using D6 Connect for the screening app at schools. They also deployed their cashless solution not too long ago, and suddenly cashless is becoming contactless. So you don't need cashless payments, you need contactless payments. In Afrikaans, dis so mooi, kontantloos of kontaklose betalings. How do we transfer money with not sending a check? How do we not hand over cash? How do we not give coins? And it's contactless because it's required. Registered Communications, and there's a little typo, apologies for that. They had a webinar with us. They give you the means and ways of sending registered letters at half the price of the snail mail, the proper paper mail one. And you do it online with an SMS or an email. I'm going to jump through the list because I've got actually got some of the solutions in pictures. So this is screenshots from the video. So this is how Resolute Robotics. You've got the soap dispenser top left. That's the functional thing. It just drips when you put your hand under it. It drips the soap. There's the means and ways, and really it's a 37-second video. And not many components. But imagine we all had our grade 6s and over say, guys, let's do this and fix our problem, not talk about how we're going to pay to fix our problem. And it's still very useful for schools that are going to go back in bigger groups later on. Registered communication, I spoke about that. If you got to send registered letters to either the Section 41 candidates or whatever urgent and important communication that you need to send out, you just do it online now. You can't go stand in the queue at the post office anymore. Their online facility has the same legal binding position as the registered letter that you would have sent via the post office and the stamp. It's tracked, it's reported on, and at nearly half the price. So this is the new car driving much faster with so much more comfort and from your desktop. And we've negotiated a 5% discount for all FEDSAS members. And actually I've seen probably 7 or 8 schools already logged on or signed up with them in the last week. So that is a real problem that we're solving with new tools that is just fitting into the normal way of doing things. It would make no sense to not do it, and that's normal. So if you still go stand in the queue at the post office, that is now the abnormal, although it was the old status quo. D6, I think, is the next one. You will see they've got a scanning solution. There's a lot of apps going around, and some of them might even be advertised through the Center of Technology at some point in time. Schools are being bombarded with a 5,000, 6,000, I don't know how many rand solution. I got 3 inquiries already in the last week of, we've got a tool to make screening at the gate faster and easier, because we believe technology will slow down or will increase the speed of entry. You will reduce the time of people standing in queues outside in the cold, and you can collect the data, and it's not on a bunch of paper that the wind can just blow away. So D6, both the Communicator app as well as the Connect app, has that functionality. And follow this link on our website. It will go to their page, their blog with that. AVS, I told you about, they've got a Microsoft solution. Bring your own school. We all know bring your own device. They can onboard your school into a Microsoft Teams environment at very high speed. And they deploy, they do training, as well as then have a security package around that, which is important, because now we're opening up all access and using the internet a lot more. So a security package for both learners, and I think that's a 3-month free license, and for educators on a 6-month free license. So there's a lot of tools that they bring you the architecture or the solution of the free components, the free ingredients that are out there. Microsoft Teams, free to schools at this point in time, and will highly likely stay that way for a very long time. That's Microsoft's commitment. So if you want to use that, you can get a company that's your architect in implementing that. Once again, something that I'm very, very excited about is Yenza, which joined the Center for Technology not long ago. They have a psychometric testing process and a career guidance process that fits into the LO curriculum for learners. So they have an online platform where a learner takes all these self-assessment tests and understands their personality type, their strengths, their skills, their aptitude, and these kind of things on an online platform, because you can't go and meet someone for career guidance at this point in time, which is critical. So yes, the Yenza platform really excites me, and it's an online solution for regular times, but more relevant so in this COVID-19 time. DigiCampus, a new member of the Center for Technology, and they haven't rolled out wide and far, but they're effectively a smaller version of Netflix for schools. They've got short snippets of lessons that you can go and watch. So you can do they've got multiple languages there, but grade 12 business studies, and there's a 6 or 7 minute video on a specific topic or specific concept with a green screen studio and a proper teacher giving you that additional lesson just to understand the work from a different angle. So it's additional to what you did at school, or it could be your primary version of listening to the lesson, or it could be your revision exercise for this. So it works very well with the teacher in the class as well as with the learner studying by them or by themselves. Yeah, so you can see I'm rushing through a few things here just to give us some time, and we started a little bit late. Voting Crowd is an outfit that joined us. They, and we're in testing phase with the school now, they have an online election service. So this is core business. This is governance to the core. If you have to run a by-election, at this point in time, you can't have an election meeting. You can't have a nomination meeting. And there's an online election platform that is super secure and tracks all the anonymity. Well, it doesn't track it. It has all the anonymity factors in it. It tracks that only a person can vote only once, and you can have a solid, proper election by using Voting Crowd. We'll talk about that soon. The Department of Education and ourselves are in talks about this pilot that we're running, but this fixes a real problem. And I'm sure most of you that have tried to get hold of a quorum at an election knows that if people didn't have to come, do you think they would highly likely just vote on their phone with getting the information, consuming it on demand, and then making a proper decision? And you'll probably find that your quorum participation, engagement, and then subsequent to that, the mandate of the election is going to be so much higher. Yeah, so I'm very excited about this one as well. Fortinet, they have been part of us. I mentioned that they're very strong on school security, internet security, network security, critical to not drive without brakes on your car. So if you have internet, you've got to look at security options, firewalls, data being hacked. I think that was one of the biggest things being reported on in the tech legal space, of the number of data breaches and hacks that we found over the last year. We've got them in the stable. So if you want to make more use of your internet at school, don't say, let's not use it because there are hohos out there. Rather open it up and manage the risk. Then we get the benefit and not the bad of the internet. A very interesting partner in the Center for Technology that we featured about 2 weeks ago, I think, on a webinar was Check It or Check ID. They can run your SACE registrations for your candidate teachers and assistant teachers online. So they do online SACE registration. They do police clearance and ID verifications. Once again, risk management, core business at a school, nothing to do with the classroom delivery, but management tools to ensure that we can get the right people with the right clearances and verifications standing in front of our learners in class, but also the non-educator staff. And the non-educator SGB staff doesn't go through the Department of Education's human resources process. So this is a very, very handy tool. It saves tons of money, tons of traveling time for candidate teachers that don't need to drive to a SACE office. If you've got a candidate teacher that wants to register from, say, Nelspruit, and they've got to drive to Centurion, that's a 4-hour drive, 1,000 Rand worth of petrol, it's sleep over, it's this, that, and the other. And you can do this online via Check It and get some traction. I mentioned Microsoft before. They've got a host of tools, free tools for schools countrywide. Some of it through the Department of Education on the umbrella agreement with the Department of Education. But if you're a public school, you can get Microsoft products for free. School Coding, one of our other partners, they've got an online coding club going, and my own kids have started using it last week just to get, it's like an extramural, which is now not happening. So we've got the time. Why not spend it using, spend it wise while using the time to grow and get critical thinking, get computational, get creative, and that kind of thing. I want to end off before we take questions and comments. I found this very early in lockdown time, and normalizing the abnormal, embracing the new normal, is the wisdom of the little duck. The man says the world is changing. The duck says it was always changing. That's not new. We never had tomorrow in our hands. Our lives are in danger. We're in lockdown. The duck says life is always dangerous. We were never free. Especially if you live in South Africa, you had security and safety dangers that you were constantly managing. Now we just don't see the danger of a virus. We've got to manage it. Many of us could die, not to sound cheap on life, but the duck says we all get our turn. We cannot hide from death. I have not seen the solution to that. It's just untimely death that we're scared of, but we all get our turn. So let's live with the reality that we don't need to fear death every day. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Did anybody ever know? The duck says nobody ever knows. This makes life interesting. Even if it was in your diary, it was not certain. It was just a plan. The fact that it was in the calendar didn't make it a certainty. Yes, ask the Olympic athletes. We don't know what to believe anymore, very much so. Keep an open mind. Go search for solutions. Go Google plans of actions. Go check information. I think it was, and it still is, against the law to circulate fake news now. So don't become part of, I don't know what to believe. Go define your own belief system. But still, it makes life interesting if you've got an open mind. And then we're living in strange times. Oh man, when were we not living in strange times? I don't think we've had the acceleration of strangeness as we've had over the past 60 days, but we've definitely always been living in strange times. So I want to challenge you with this. Let's embrace the wisdom of the duck and embrace the new normal and make it normal, not new, just make it normal, as Paul said. I want to challenge schools also to innovate. Let's think about creative solutions. The Department of Education has given a lot of gray area with what we call lockdown learning in Gauteng, where if someone doesn't come to school because they're sick, you don't deregister them, you work with a creative plan. The other creativity is the change in the timetable. Platooning, day A, day B, group A, grade B, 1 week or on 1 week off, 14 days with packs at home, something like that. There's a lot of creativity that we can do now and utilize now. And I want to urge you, think of solutions with long-term effects. Let's put the ER in brackets there, longer term, and not just have a solution. I think one of the biggest fears, and Paul versed it pretty strong as well, our biggest fear is that after all the good things that we've learned now, that we go back to parking the new BMW and getting back on our old BMW. Let's not lose the good of the challenges that we faced. Yes, I'm gonna end there with before we go to Q&A, but I'm gonna end there, and you might ask, why the compass and the clock? Yes, I think we got to figure out where we're going before we know if we're on time at the wrong destiny. So longer term thinking, put on a compass on your arm and get direction before you get schedule. And yeah, schedule might just burn you. So that's just a little piece of wisdom from me in normalizing the abnormal and embracing the new normal. Paul, I'm going to hand over to you. I don't know if there were any Q&A. I'm going to stop my screen sharing and see if some people want to engage with us. I'm willing to play this game. Open up your videos, raise your hand by means of waving to us if you want to make a comment, or type it in the chat box if you've got a question. I see Martin took the laptop no-brainer, not the typewriter. Paul, anything from you that was on the side?
Yeah, I think it's really great. I think exactly what's happened here is what we need to do. It's these things that do challenge us, and exactly what's happened today. It's amazing that we talk about embracing the new situation, and this is the first probably of 2.5 years that we've had to move everybody from one venue to another venue at very short notice. And I think we've got most people on board. So I think that's it's what we need to do and what we need to get used to. And I've got goosebumps to think that this is the one webinar where we're talking about permanently using that change that's been forced on us, and now we actually have to permanently use something else and actually operate in another way. So I think that's really fantastic. I think the other thing to just consider, and please, folks, if there's anybody that wants to ask something, for those of you that arrived late, we had a bit of a technical glitch. And we couldn't open the webinar platform, so we moved everybody to a meeting platform. So instead of sitting in an auditorium, we're all now sitting on a massive round table. And if anybody would like to ask something, they're welcome to open their camera and their mics, or at least open their videos so we can see, and then I will open mics and we can take any questions that's come through. Riaan and myself will just page through the numbers. But yeah, I think if I see Tony's opened his camera, so I'm presuming he would like he'd like to say something. And I think anybody else, if you've got anything else you want to discuss and talk about it, let's make this a bit of a discussion process. I'm going to open your mic now, Tony. So you should be getting a message to say you can unmute now. There we go.
I think this is absolutely fascinating, but I want to make a sort of general comment that may be taken seriously or not seriously. But it's absolutely fascinating to see how many ladies are here. And that is fantastic. I think it's absolutely fantastic, because so often people assume that the tech thing is a male-dominated area. And at this stage, this is great, absolutely great. So congratulations, guys. Well done. You clearly are magnets. Well done.
Thank you, Tony. I noticed the number of ladies as well, and also commend people for walking into this new world and debunking the myths of it's, my daughter also started with coding this week, not just my son. Martin, you wanted to, I see you opened your video. Do you want to make a comment, contribution, please?
Yes, I also noticed the amount of ladies, which is absolutely phenomenal, as was said. I've seen such an increase in the amount of online learning platforms that was given out to people in terms of emails and things like that. Not only from the DBE side, but basically everywhere. And I heard that you guys spoke about online training platforms that you guys are creating as well in terms of courses and things. And I was just wondering, how can you get in contact with that information in terms of online courses that FEDSAS offers? And then the other thing is, I also just wanted to make a comment in terms of online learning, because I'm in one of those schools where we don't have access to things like internet for the learners and so on. So we really struggle getting the online platform going, because the learners don't have access to the internet, they don't have laptops, they don't have cell phones and things that they can use. So I just wanted to get your comment on that and what you think we can do to bridge that gap. I know there's been a lot of conversation from the DB itself, from our minister, in terms of that problem that we have. So yes, I'm just looking forward to your comment on that.
Brilliant. Thanks for that contribution, Martin. And it's a very tough question. I'm going to quickly just refer you to the first part of your question. Our FEDSAS eLearn platform has a link from our FEDSAS main page. So you just scroll there. There's a banner that rolls, and you can click on the eLearn site and go and register. I don't have the URL off by hand. I don't know if Paul can help me out. It's something like education.rocks.fedsas. But the gateway is from the fedsas.org.za website page. Just look for the eLearn I think there's an article as well, but there's definitely a banner. The second portion of that, and I see Paul posted our YouTube. No, that was the YouTube of the small link, I think, for the Paul. I'm just the YouTube that is that the video for the soap dispenser. But if you go follow the FEDSAS YouTube channel, so if you go to YouTube and you find FEDSAS, you will see that we've got a host of free material, training materials on FEDSAS. Most of the Tech Talk webinars are on there, and you subscribe to the FEDSAS channel. If you've got internet access, you have privy to those videos, and you can rewatch them and show them to other people as well. So we're trying to make those platforms available, and then a lot of our webinars will be hosted there. As far as the data and device dilemma is concerned, we found it very quickly in lockdown time that data is a big issue. So the Department of Education jumped on and made a lot of websites free, zero rated, call it zero rated rather than free. So there's a lot of zero rated material out there. I devised it that there's not just one level of problem being data and data cost. I put it into 3 categories, and we even ran at my kids' own school, where I'm on the SUB, a survey with the parents to find out, do you have enough data? That's the first question. Do you have enough devices? That's the second question. So can we work with devices? It's all good and well that you have data, but you don't have devices. And the third one, can the parents assist the learners with onboarding and facilitating? And it was probably 90% said yes for data, 70% said yes for devices, and another 20% drop in parents saying yes, we can help the learners. So the blend of blended learning is not just blend of paper and technology, it's a blend of the systemic things as well. So if you're sitting in a situation where data is definitely a problem, and it could be a problem by means of infrastructure, there's no coverage, the networks just didn't deploy, you're in bad reception area, or it's socio-economical where it's just too expensive, you can look at zero rating your school's website and deploying your learning material there, because there's still a sense of personalization if it's my own teacher teaching me from my own school's webpage and not something generic, Vodacom eSchool that's zero rated, because it doesn't fit into my class, my journey, my people, my context. So you can zero rate schools' websites, or you can look at alternatives of deploying something natively to devices if you can fix the device problem, and then have a central hotspot of the school. And once you go to the hotspot, you can download some of the material on a device. Snaplify has something that they call the Snap Box. I think I don't remember if that's the where internet is bad, they duplicate what you put on the internet on a local server, and the Wi-Fi distributes it to a central place. So you've got access to material, but it's not constantly synchronous with the whole World Wide Web. So there are solutions to that effect. But if you find that you've got data sorted, because data really became cheap, 189 Rand for 10 megs is hardly, I think the networks really came to the party in that. But if you can't fix the device problem, you've got to campaign and make a plan for the device. Otherwise, your blend is more paper, less technology, but still learning and teaching in a new way of mindset. It's not just tools, it's mindset as well. So yeah, those are my comments. But Martin, I'm very happy to engage with you subsequent to this discussion and try and see if we can fix some of the problems. I don't see any other questions or comments, Paul. I see you put the education.rocks or FEDSAS.education.rocks, which is our e-learn platform. Our YouTube channel is on YouTube. Just go search FEDSAS. Contact me at the Center for Technology. But I think we've come to the end of a late start, so let's not end too late. Thank you for joining us. Sorry for the hiccup at the start, but yes, I think we landed well, and yeah, we just adapted because the tools allowed for it. So from my side, goodbye. I'm going to leave Paul to say, okay, here's our CEO. Did he open his mic or just his camera? Maybe you can add a few words.
I just wanted to say hello, goeiemiddag vir almal. Well done, guys, and Marley in the background, and well done also with the quick change you had to make when you had the glitch at the beginning. So fantastic to listen to you, fantastic to see all the people listening to you. Great job, thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Thank you. Chris, did you want to say something? Chris, wil jy gou 'n bydrae lewer of wil jy net waai? Ons hoor jou nie.
Nou waar lê daai probleem nou?
Daar's hy, praat maar.
Is ek nou reg? Riaan, ja, baie dankie. Ek is een van die ouer garde wat maar gesukkel het met hierdie transformasieproses na die digitale area in era, maar ons sit met baie skoolhoofde en dis die mense wat hierdie prosesse by skole moet bestuur wat ek wil amper sê verkeerdelik amper soos ek voel oor die goeters. Hierdie webinar, nou Zoom geword van jou is uiters belangrik. Gaan ons op een of ander manier kan kry dat ons om aan skole as sulks kan versprei of moet hulle maar net gaan aflaai dat ons op een of ander boodskap vir hulle kan gee.
Ons sal definitief plan maak om hom te kommunikeer. Hy sal op YouTube wees. Maar ons sal in 'n nuusbrief vir almal sê hier's 'n lekker samevatting van 'n klomp van die oplossings. So kom ons generations gap and the generations issue. I started off with a question and I didn't poll everyone to ask them which car they chose. But if you choose the new option in all of those cases, you know that you are ready for more efficiency and better outcomes. It's not about the product, it's solutions and it's outcomes. So that's what I'm trying to convey to SGBs, principals, management teams. Let's look at our core business, not at the way we did it, but what we want to achieve. So that's, but we'll work hard at it and we'll send this webinar out to all. I see Colin, did you want to make a comment? Maybe last round?
Hi, thanks, Riaan. I'm actually a parent at one of the schools, and my headmaster was kind enough to send out the link for us. You know, something that I've just, as from a parent's point of view, learned with the restrictions on the actual access to the school material sometimes with the data and that is giving my kids resources to upskill. And I think that's something that all teachers, you know, we're talking about the changes that we're in. Is we've had to upskill ourselves and learn the hard way. And, you know, we're just blessed where I am. Our headmaster has been phenomenal, very proactive. And, yeah, I think we must just view this as a pause and a time to reflect on how we can improve things. It's not the end. Some people have been very nervous. And I've actually grown more positive in this time, I must really say. So, yeah, challenge yourself to upskill yourself and to learn new things.
I can't agree with you more, Colin, and thanks for that comment. I'm also a parent, but I'm also on the SGB and I also work for FEDSAS, but we're all in the same boat. Or as our CEO said earlier, we're no more in the same boat. The boat has sunk, we're in the same sea. So yeah, I think all of us are challenged with this, the time and space that we find ourselves in. Just to comment on that, the upskilling, I think we might find that after 10 weeks, we're going to look back and say, sadly, we missed the opportunity of doing a lot of training ourselves. I put a list down of 10 things in the first week of lockdown, thinking that if we're not working as hard as we did, and I'm not blaming the education sector, but a lot of my plans went by the wayside. But if you had time off these last 10 weeks, you could have learned a lot of new skills, computer skills. My kids started doing typing, maybe because of my influence. And I told them, listen, for the rest of your lives, you will be typing on computers, not because it's a special skill. It's just a normal skill. That's table stakes. That's like knowing how to use a knife and a fork. And sadly, the curriculum doesn't allow for typing being taught as a subject like it used to in the 80s and early 90s of the previous century. So I pushed my kids to go do a typing course. They're grade 3 and grade 4, and my son can touch type in a game format, probably 15, 20 words a minute. But he's got the skill, he knows how to do it. So upskilling yourself in this time, Colin, I can't agree with you more. And then embracing it. The only certainty we have is that it's uncertain times. And like Paul said, I hope that we don't think, oh, grade 7s are back at school, we're back in the old world. Yes, tomorrow is not certain in any way. We hope it is. We're hoping we go back as normal. But yeah, thanks for your time. Thanks for your attendance. Thanks for your comments. Go have a look at the resources on our YouTube page. A lot of the FEDSAS Center for Technology, I'm specifically thinking of the RegCom one. which is a true tool for schools. And I'm thinking of the D6 one that can help you do the screening much faster. These are tools that are available to schools that save you time, save you money, and put the learners, shall I say, at the forefront and give them some traction. Paul, last words from you, from my side. Thank you so much, people. Really good luck. Go face the 21st century out there.
Thank you very much, everybody, and thank you for attending this very momentous 37th webinar of the year, and the wheels nearly came off. So thanks for being with us with the recovery of it. As I've often said, it's not how you fall, it's how you recover, and I think we recovered fairly well. If I can be so humbly to say that. But thank you very much, everybody, for your involvement. It's great to have seen everybody on board, at last seen people, which has been super. Thanks for the involvement of people who've asked questions. And thank you, Riaan. Maybe I should just take this opportunity to thank you for your hard work that you're driving this process with regards to, digital use, another way of doing things. I purposely don't want to say the word technology because then it becomes your thing. But I think within FEDSAS, driving this process, making us all aware of where we can go, what we can do, has really been incredible for all of us in our FEDSAS circle. But obviously, it's spread further into our schools that we operate with. So thank you very much for your involvement. Thank you, everybody, for your involvement on board. It's really been great. We will send the recording out for you so that you can distribute it further. And we look forward to seeing you in some of our other online sessions and also in live sessions down the road as we go forward, as we move closer and closer in a slow, careful way towards level 2 and level 1. So thank you very much, everybody, and have a good afternoon. Cheerio.